Hello, this is Leisa Wens of Family Matters Law Group here in South Florida, family law exclusive firm. Thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Today's topic is all about prenuptial agreements. So, what is a prenuptial agreement? Who needs a prenuptial agreement? And what all is it going to involve? The essence of a prenuptial agreement is to change and modify and alter Florida law to be in alignment with what you and your partner think is fair and reasonable in the event of a divorce or in the event of the death of the other spouse. It's really important to know that a prenuptial agreement really doesn't have a lot of impact on your life unless you file for divorce or unless someone dies. And there are some prenuptial agreements that do not address anything regarding on-death provisions. Prenuptial agreements commonly will say things like that if one of the parties dies, the other person is willing to waive their spousal share. But it's not an estate planning document, so it doesn't usually get into too much detail about what's going to happen with someone's estate. It just simply says that one of the parties is willing to waive their spousal share, which is the state mandated portion that they would be entitled to upon someone's death. So the majority of time, prenuptial agreements are dealing with what is going to happen upon a divorce. So what kinds of things can we talk about in a prenuptial agreement? Well, we can talk about mostly assets and debts and what's going to happen with assets and debts, what's going to be considered marital, what's going to be considered non-marital. An example of that would be someone's income or contributions to a 401k or real estate that you might purchase or cars that you might purchase. How are we going to determine which of those things are marital and which of those things are non-marital? General Florida law says on the day you get married forward, any assets and any debts that are acquired in either person's name are considered marital, and they're going to get split equally upon a dissolution, upon a divorce. So prenuptial agreements allow us to change that. They allow us to say, well, just because we're married doesn't mean if I buy a car that the other person's entitled to have. Just because we're married doesn't mean if I invest in my 401k that the other person's entitled to have. It lets us set up your own rules about how those things are going to work. Prenuptial agreements also very often deal with alimony and with attorney's fees. However, there is no guarantee on alimony and attorney's fees that if you have a prenuptial agreement that you are 100% not ever going to pay those things. It's a complicated conversation, probably too much to go into on a YouTube video, but it's something that you want to talk to an attorney about if it's something that you're concerned about having exposure to in the future for alimony or attorney's fees. So prenuptial agreements mostly are dealing with our assets and debts and what's going to be defined as marital and what's going to be defined as non-marital, and protecting us against pitfalls that happen when people aren't educated and don't have a prenuptial agreement, such as if you have a premarital or non-marital asset and you commingle it or mix it together with some marital assets, that transmuting it or transforming it into becoming a marital asset. It helps protect against those kinds of things so that you can make sure that the stuff that you want to be yours and that you don't want to have to share stays yours. The debts that you want to be yours or that you want to be the other person's and you don't want to have to share remain that way. And it also makes sure that we're all on the same page about the stuff we are going to share and how we're going to share it and how we're going to be responsible for it. So as a family law attorney, I think prenuptial agreements are really almost necessary if you want to save yourself a lot of heartache and headache on the back end of a divorce. As a family therapist, I think prenuptial agreements are so helpful to supporting and maintaining good, productive relationships because it gets us talking about the stuff that we need to be talking about before we're entering into what at the end of the day becomes a business transaction, this unity between two people of marriage, which is it's a legal contract and it has legal consequences to it. So negotiating and going through the process of negotiating a prenup helps to make sure we're on the same page. It helps to make sure that we feel that the outcome, if we do end up at a divorce, is fair and reasonable, and that it's tailored around what our own needs and belief systems are instead of general Florida law. Hopefully this was some helpful information. Prenuptial agreements are definitely something you want to have a consultation with an attorney about and talk about your specific circumstances. We are happy to be that firm. If you are looking for someone in Florida, throughout the state, we can help with prenuptial agreements. Get in touch if we can be helpful. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this information helpful, make sure you like and subscribe so you stay updated about new content on the channel.